try over and over and over again. I hear your spirit calling. Why would I fight the great migration of my heart? It's calling me home. Uncontainable life, just like heaven. When you walk into the room, there's not a thing that's hidden. When every eye is on you, can't get enough of your presence. It's the perfect point of view. Isn't it just like heaven? Come a little closer, stay a little longer. I can't get enough of you. Come a little closer, stay a little longer. I can't get enough of you. Doesn't it sound like heaven when you're singing over me? There's not a voice more constant. Your melodies, they never cease. Here I will stand in your presence, in my true identity. Doesn't it sound like, yeah, sound like, just like heaven? Come a little closer, stay a little longer. I can't get enough of you. Come a little closer, stay a little longer. I can't get enough of you. Enough of you. You are holy. You're such a perfect Father. I'll worship you forever. Holy, you are holy. I'll lay down any treasure for us to be together. Holy, you are holy. You're such a perfect Father. I'll worship you forever. Holy, you are holy. I'll lay down any treasure for us to be together. Come a little closer, stay a little longer. I can't get enough of you. Come a little closer, stay a little longer. I can't get enough of you. Enough of you. I was lost in a moment, a glimmer in time, like a child chasing today. You may have a seat.
Today we rise, not above fear, but in using fear as an ignition to spark our faithfulness in following Christ. The Apostle Paul writes in 2 Corinthians 12:10, "When I am weak, then I am strong." Let's delve into how life's challenges are not stumbling blocks, but stepping stones to experience spiritual breakthroughs. Like the prison escape in Dark Knight Rises, where fear, not strength alone, is what propels Batman to rise above his desperate circumstances. We too can utilize fear to fire up our faith and strengthen our resolve. Don't let fear be the enemy of your faith. Let it be the catalyst for trusting God in the transformation of our lives. Today at Suncoast, we will discover that fear is not our foe, but can be a force for spiritual growth.
freedom is not about strength.
My body makes the jump.
Survival is the spirit, the soul.
My soul is as ready to escape as my body.
Fear is why you fail.
No, I'm not afraid. I'm angry.
You do not fear death. You think this makes you strong. It makes you weak.
Why?
How can you move faster than possible? Fight longer than possible? Without the most powerful impulse of the spirit. The fear of death.
I do fear death. I fear dying in here. While my city burns. There's no one there to save it.
Then make the climb. As the child is. Without the rope. Then fear will find you again.
Ah, supplies for your journey. Oh, that's wonderful. That's...
What does that mean?
Rise.
Wow. Amazing. I hope you guys are ready today. Everybody's silent, like, where is this going? Buckle up, Buttercup, because it's going to be a good one. Didn't that band rock that Foo Fighters song? That song is unbelievable. I tried for 3 years to get this movie to be a part of Suncoast at the Movies, and we finally got it approved this year. And so I am as excited about this sermon as any sermon as I've ever preached in my life. If you're new to Suncoast, I'm Dr. Troy Doucet, one of the teaching pastors here. We're so thankful you're joining us, whether you're live in person or watching online. Thanks for being here. A few quick housekeeping things I want to talk about in the life of the church. Today is Communion Sunday. We do this every first Sunday of the month. So right after service in this corner, Pastor Kevin will lead you through communion service if you want to participate in the partaking of communion. Also, this weekend and next weekend are our backpack drives, where we give backpacks to less fortunate students in our community. You can go out to the front in Grand Hall, scan that little code, and donate to give a backpack or 2 or 3 or 4 to students and kids in our community who need it so badly. If you didn't notice, we are in week number 4 of Suncoast Summer at the Movies, and this week is The Dark Knight Rises. I absolutely love Christopher Nolan's direction and production of this film. He said in an interview once, why I love it so much is, he said, in the creation of this Batman universe, he wanted no mention of Superman, no mention of Wonder Woman, no mention of Aquaman. He wanted to base this Batman trilogy as close to reality as possible. So all of Batman's gadgets you see in the movie are based on sort of army technology. All of his enemies have no superpowers. It's as close to reality as can get. And that's why I love it, because I'm gonna give you a little bit of comic book history here just to kind of set this up. We're all familiar with Superman, right? The guy from Krypton. Superman, the comic number 1, the first comic released to Superman was 1938. That comic just sold for $7 million 2 months ago. $7 million. So you can complain all you want about superheroes or whatever, they're here to stay. But Superman became this international phenomenon when comic book number 1 was released. But as quick as he ascended to the imaginations of people, he quickly declined. Comic book sales fell, interest in Superman just declined, and no one was really fascinated anymore. And there have been research done on why did this happen, and here's why. Because Superman was guaranteed to win every fight. There was no question if he's going to defeat his enemy, because why, you guys remember? He is faster than a speeding bullet. He leaps tall buildings in a single bound. They got bored with Superman. And in 1949, kryptonite was invented and placed into comic number 61. And Superman became a worldwide phenomenon. Why is that? Why would the introduction of kryptonite be that thing which excelled Superman's popularity? Because it showed he had weaknesses and he had fears, just like you and I. And what I love most about Batman, Bruce Wayne, is that Batman and Bruce Wayne have no superhuman powers. His only superhuman power is his incredible wealth, right, in which he fights crime in super awesome cars with super cool gadgets. But he is fully human, full of weakness, full of fears, just like each one of us. But how does this relate to the sermon? Well, today, because we all have fears. We all have weaknesses. We all have mistakes we have made in our past that we might not be very proud of. But even in today's age of computer-generated graphics, we need even our superheroes' imaginary world to somehow echo our real world with all of our fears and hopes and dreams and tragedies. It's funny, the Apostle Paul wrote to a church in Corinth who was struggling to find its identity, struggling to find its true sense of self. And they had all these weird practices that they were doing to try to super spiritualize who God was. When I love what the song we said, there goes my hero, he's ordinary. So look at what Paul writes. This is what he says, 2 Corinthians 12. The Lord spoke to me and said, my grace, Paul, is efficient for you, strong enough to defend you. For my power, God's power, is made perfect in your weakness. Therefore, I will more gladly boast about all the money I got in my 401k. I will gladly boast about all the degrees I got hanging on my office wall. I will gladly boast about how much I could bench press. No. What does he say? I will boast in my weaknesses. That's so un-American, isn't it? Jesus flips this script so that the power of Christ may fully dwell in me. We preach this from the pulpit way too often. Christ's Spirit dwells in each one of you right now. But does it fully express itself? Do you have that Christ pedal to the metal in your life? Well, I know when you do, when you boast about your weaknesses and not how strong you are, rich you are, how successful you are. So Paul goes on to say, I do this in order that Christ may be completely seen in my life. My mind has been changed about how I think about weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, calamities. I see these things differently because I know now. Paul has this revelation. I know now that when I realize I'm weak, it is in that moment that I am truly strong. What a powerful, powerful, and challenging verse from Paul. If you're taking notes, here's what point number 1 says. Fear becomes faith's most formidable foe when that fear is grounded in a false reality. I call this point the fear of false realities. The Roman philosopher Marcus Aurelius said this, we will suffer more in our imaginations than we ever will in reality. Some of us in this room could give Stephen King a run for his money in the horror stories you create about your future in your mind that you come to believe. When your fear is fueled by something that's not actually real, that's not completely true, and maybe not even the realm of what might be possible, you begin to substitute fiction instead of facts. And you begin to spend all of your strength, all of your energy, all of your emotional capacity fighting against an artificial adversary that you will never beat, that you will never conquer. I say it this way, you will never win a battle against an enemy that your mind has created that is convincing you to believe in it. And what is that? What is the greatest enemy of us today? A false reality. A false reality. But I get it. I do it too. Sometimes I make up stories in my mind to believe when I do not have the space filled of what could happen. When there's a blank about the future, I can fill that thing up with fear, with problems, with insecurities. And then we write these stories in my mind about a future that we haven't even experienced yet, and we begin to see this domino effect. Oh, well, the reason they did this to me is because, really? Is that why? Well, the reason they talk this junk about me is because whatever. And it perpetuates the problem. We call this in philosophy the slippery slope argument. You get a flat tire on your way to work. Oh no, why is this happening to me, God? I'm gonna be late for work. My boss is gonna fire me. Then I won't have any money. Then my wife is gonna leave me. And my children are gonna be embarrassed of me. Now I'm gonna have to do drugs to cope. And then I'm gonna have to go to rehab. And then they're gonna find me dead on the side of the road on Bay Vista. Pastor, help me, pray for me. The devil is attacking me. No, stop the story. Pause the reel. Quit creating a false reality. Paul says, in order that Christ can be seen completely in my life, I have to change the way I think about what weaknesses are and how weaknesses function in my life. Weakness is actually when God is strongest. Belief is a powerful thing. But belief in a false reality is a war you will never win. So the way I want to say it is this. You cannot believe your way into a new way of living. You have to live your way into a new way of believing. And let me say it this way, man. The destination of this living, this Christ-like living, it's not a destination of, oh, I get to go to heaven when I die somewhere out there at another time, at another place. No, the true destination of a Christ follower is this: seeing this world here and now with brand new eyes. Thinking about your life here and now with a transformed mind. Experiencing God's love here and now with an open heart, not a heart that's partially closed. And then sharing this love of God with others so they too can experience God's unconditional love for themselves. When? Here and now. That is the true transformation Christ wants in our hearts. He wants that transformation so deeply, he died for it. He died for it in spite of your past mistakes, in spite of your past failures, your past hurts, your past trauma. Despite the false realities we create and make believe in our mind, your life right now can have a completely different meaning and purpose and significance. But let me say it this way. Sometimes you should not believe everything you believe. I love that scene we just watched from The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, it's kind of sad he wasn't in his Batman outfit, but this is when Bruce Wayne was most vulnerable, most weak. And he created this false belief, this false premise, this false reality in that cave. If I just get strong enough, I can get out. If I just get angry enough, I'll get out. If I just become smart enough how to get out of here, I'll get out and I'll go save Gotham City heroically. These were all false realities. Even the old man in prison said, it has nothing to do with your strength or how much you can bench press. It obviously had nothing to do with his wealth or his success. So my question to you today, Suncoast, is what false realities have you created in your mind that you believe in, that may create fear? What about the false reality of inadequacy? Do you constantly compare yourself to others who are more successful, more wealthy, more beautiful, more in shape? Do you have unrealistic expectations for your life? Let me say this to you today. You are fully loved and accepted as you are right now. What about the false reality of success? Yeah, that's a false reality. You might live in the reality that your success has brought you, but let me ask you this. Do you think your degrees or your bank account are the most significant thing that gives your life meaning and purpose? You are more than your money. You are more than your success. What about the fear of failure? Do your past mistakes, do your past failures and hiccups make it tough for you to live the life you've always wanted now because you fear failing again? Let me say this to you. My prayer is that you have learned, you have grown, and you have transformed. Take that risk. What about this one, the fear of death? You know, in America, death is the number 2 fear most people have. Anybody know number 1? Public speaking. I don't have that problem. But if you think about it, most Americans are more afraid to speak in public than to die. That means if you're at a funeral, you'd rather be in the coffin than giving the eulogy, right? That's sort of the idea there. You don't need to live in fear of God. You need to live in love with God. I don't fear that my Father is going to send me to some place for an eternal conscious torment for 1 trillion years. I live with the fact that I am loved, that I belong, that I am a child of God, that there is nothing I could ever do to change God's mind about me. Now, I may do some things that change your mind about me, but thank God you're not God. Point number 2, if you're taking notes. I love this one. Faithfulness is never fearless. Faithfulness is trusting God when I fear the most. I call this the fear of fear itself. Paul writes, he says, God tells me, my grace is sufficient enough to protect you. In the clip you just watched, every prisoner in that hole in the ground had the same opportunity to get out. Every one of them. And many of them tried because they know, man, I have some trepidation and some dread making this climb. And it's a surefall death if I miss that leap, if I miss that cliff and I drop, I'm gonna fall to my death. That's why they did what? They put a what? Rope around their waist. A security blanket. But you know what that rope did? That rope removed complete fear. Well, if I miss, then what? It's like a bungee jump. Let me ask you this. How can you say you truly trust God with your whole being with a rope around your waist? Come on, somebody. After falling again and again and again under these erroneous beliefs that Bruce Wayne had, never successfully making the jump, but always being caught by his rope, Bruce finally admits to the old man, he says, I do have fear. I do have flaws. I do have shortcomings in my life. And what does the old man say? Make the leap. But this time, without your security blanket. And then he asked this question I want to ask you guys, and this is ambiguous so you can apply it to wherever you are in your life. How can you fight longer than possible? How can you move faster than possible if there is not the element of fear in your spirit that compels you and propels you to act? You can't have faith if you have no fear. Because if all I have is faith with no fear, then it's not really faith I have. That's become a false reality that I worship. Let me put it to you in theological terms. If you can do it on your own, through your own wealth, your own intelligence, your own wit, your own power and strength, you don't need God. Therefore, you don't need faith. What you're doing in that moment is you're asking God to approve of what you've already achieved. Ooh. I'm so blessed. Look at it. What risk did you take? Or did you have that rope around your waist? And if you have that rope around your waist, you have the backup plan all sorted out. If it's not going to work out, you have this cushion, this security net. Then you don't have real fear. You might have trepidation, but you don't have real fear. Let me say it to you this way. You want to write this down in your mind. Sometimes you have to first step out in fear so that you can find faith again. In Joshua 3, all of the Levites are carrying the Ark of the Covenant, and they have to cross this very vicious river. And they're afraid. And they're like, well, isn't God going to stop this river from moving so we can get the Ark across and get to the promised land? And God says, nuh-uh. Well, God, look how close we are to the river. We're getting close to the river. And God says, not until you step in it am I going to stop it. You always have to step in first. No security blanket, no rope. God says, do you trust me? Take that rope off. And what does the old man say? Make the leap like the child. Isn't it funny how often Jesus says, come to me with faith like a what? Like a child. Like a child. I want to say this to you. If you have fear in your life, good. Use it. Don't avoid it. Don't super spiritualize it. Don't sidestep it. Don't ignore it. Don't try to conquer it. Employ it. Use that fear as fuel to become more faithful and more trusting of what and who God is in the world. It's point number 3. Frustration will happen. And frustration in my life is either going to fuel my faith in God or it's going to fuel my fear of uncertainty. Fear can frustrate us, right? It paralyzes us. It causes us to stop, to think, to overanalyze. When I'm uncertain about how the outcome will be, oh, I don't know if I should do this. You start to question your decisions, right? You start to doubt your decisions. That's uncertainty. Because we as humans, we love certainty. We love having at least the idea or the element of certainty. And it's mostly for like what I call evolutionary psychological reasons. Why? Certainty reduces my anxiety in my mind. Certainty creates predictability about the outcomes I want. Certainty simplifies efficiency in my decision-making process. It's easy to make decisions when you know how it's going to turn out. Certainty secures my identity in accepting who I am. But frustration happens. Frustration is when unmet expectation occurs. Unmet expectation is simply, it didn't happen the way I thought it would. So what does it do? It stops me in my tracks. It makes me freeze. Uncertainty causes me to have paralysis by analysis. I overanalyze everything. Therefore, I won't do anything. Do you trust God? Then there'll always be that element of fear of uncertainty. Because if we're being honest, you want to know what would really erase all fear of uncertainty is if everybody just thought like me, right? Then I could be certain of everything. If you think like me, if you believe like me, if you vote like me, then man, the world would just be a better place. Just think like me, do what I do. And if you watch any of the Batmans, if you watch any of Bruce Wayne, that's his biggest frustration. He feels everybody should feel the same way about him as he does Gotham City as he does, right? He believes everybody should believe like him. Everybody should take action like him. Everybody should have his same ethics and values. But the truth is, that's not the world you live in. That's a false reality. To think that your way is the only way or the only right way. Not everyone is going to see life the way you do. Not everyone is going to love the beach as much as I do. Not every parent is going to correct and discipline their child the way you do. Stop expecting people to be just like you. I know if we all were, man, that would take all the uncertainty away. But when you realize that truth, this truth that not everybody's going to act like me, vote like me, think like me, believe like me, instead of it causing frustration, it ought to create the sense of freedom. The sense of freedom that, you know what? The one thing that I can be certain of is that God loves me, that God is with me through the trials, through my mistakes. He's with me through my triumphs and my victories. That's the one thing I can truly be certain of. I love the way Jesus says this in the Gospels. He says, if you truly want to find yourself, you have to start by losing yourself. You see, here's the thing, y'all. This is a big truth that changed my life. Most of Christianity out there teaches this. God will love you if you change. Like, God begins to love you when you change or if you change. No. God doesn't love you if you change. God loves you so that you can change. It is love that transforms the heart. This unconditional love to trust God, to take the rope off of my waist, and to say, even though I am overwhelmed with fear, I know the God of the universe lives within me. And even if I miss the leap, he will not let me fall. He will catch me. So what's your excuse? For whatever it is, I leave this sermon open to you and whatever you're going in your life. That's why it's ambiguous. I'm not giving you a whole lot of examples because I know some of you right here have decisions to make for your life. Stop making excuses. Your excuses are often inexcusable. Quit saying, oh, one day you know what that is? That's saying, one day I'll be certain of it and then I'll do it. Quit saying one day. Start and say, no, today is day one. Today is day one. I'm going to change my life. You want to get in shape? Go to the gym. Make the time to go. You want to finish that degree? Stop procrastinating and do the work. You want to save your marriage? Then work together for a common goal instead of separating on the differences that cause the conflict. You want that job? You want that promotion? Then go develop the skills necessary to get it. Don't be afraid to face fear head on and stop saying, oh, one day. No, today is day one. Today is day one. I am taking the rope off and I'm trusting God wholeheartedly that he is with me. Let me pray for us, Suncoast. Father, awesome God, I pray for my friends, my family, my community, that whatever they're walking through in this moment, God, that we would not try to erase or eradicate fear, but that fear would ignite like a fuel in us to trust you and to be faithful. So God, give us the courage to trust you, to remove the rope and step out in fear sometimes so that we can find faith in you once again. It's in the strong name of Jesus we pray. Amen. Stand with me, Suncoast. I want to close with a quick story for you. It's a very famous story. You've probably heard it here by Dr. Bauckham or myself over the years, but I love this story. You know, I love living in Circus Town, Circus City. Every time that big top goes up, man, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And so my favorite act, my kids love the puppy acts, and my wife likes the strongman acts and stuff, and so I'm just picking. I love the high wire acts, man, because we have a world famous guy who lives in our city, Nick Walinda. Now, Nick's grandfather, one day, many years ago, he ran this tightrope across Niagara Falls. No promotion. Most of these guys want to promote it, right? You pay to get in, you pay to watch. But his grandfather ran this wire across Niagara Falls. And he started just doing these high wire acts with no promotion, and everybody who was there to see the falls saw this. So they start gathering to look at what he's doing, what Mr. Walinda's doing on the high rope. And he goes across this bike, and people are like, oh my God, this is amazing. What a feat. And one of his last tricks, he took this wheelbarrow, and he filled it up, piled up dirt in that wheelbarrow, and he walked across, and he walks backwards with this wheelbarrow full of dirt, super heavy. And he finally makes it across to the other side and drops the wheelbarrow, and everybody's just going ecstatic, like, oh my gosh. And this little old lady, probably in her late 70s, comes up to great Walinda, and she goes, Mr. Walinda, you are amazing. You are awesome. He's like, thank you very much. She said, I believe you could walk across this tightrope 1,000,000 times and never fall. He goes, do you really believe that? She goes, I absolutely believe that. He takes the wheelbarrow, he dumps out the dirt, he goes, jump in. May you walk out of these doors today and take the rope off of your waist and trust God with all of your being. Have a great Sunday, Suncoast. We'll see you.